all of our plans were based on the matchups that we either wanted or the matchups that you would think we would get. And there's a lot of trade-offs in drafts, whether or not you're trying to give someone a power pick in exchange for something else, or whether or not you're trying to draft for comfort or draft for team comp.
This is Azento from Esports Heaven, and I have Jatt from Team Liquid after a disappointing 5-series game against TSM. Well, I guess not disappointing for the fans, but disappointing for you guys, of course. First, I just want to start off by saying, what do you think generally went wrong for Team Liquid this series?
It's hard to say. I'd say for people watching, the series ended probably about 30 minutes ago. So everything is still really fresh for us. I think there's a lot of little things in terms of how we were resetting, how we were syncing up to make vision plays around the map, how we were setting up around objectives, and then some of our overall decisiveness was missing in certain instances. But I also have to credit TSM; they've improved a lot, and I mean, I think it was a really close series. It just really stings when you lose. It's kind of crazy the difference in how you feel based on the results of Game 5, right? Because you're like 30 minutes in, feel like you have the edge, but because you didn't close out, it makes you reevaluate some things. So the hope is that we're able to identify the right things and make the right fixes for Worlds.
Yeah. Just as a side note, like, do you feel like it's a little bit more difficult, or maybe difficult isn't the correct word, but do you feel like it's just entirely different in the sense of looking at it from an objective standpoint, coming from an analyst, on the Riot broadcast, and viewing all these games as they progress in a series versus as you are, within the team side when looking at your own team and how you find the faults and maybe how you pick that apart?
I mean, it is obviously different in the fact that your circle is different people. You're interacting directly with the players. But the approach in terms of trying to be as objective as possible stays the same.
Mm-hmm. Okay. So I want to talk about this series in general because I feel like there's kind of a lot of criticism, as you said, around kind of resetting or setting up vision for objectives. And I'd actually praised your team quite a lot. I thought you guys were pretty good, at least within the regular season, of doing your homework, as I like to say, of setting up the vision, making sure that you have the actual advantage. You change a 50-50 situation into a 60-40 in that sense, just by vision control and setting up the entire area around an objective. So, what I guess changed for Team Liquid in that sense coming into playoffs? Have you guys just maybe consciously decided to play a little bit more loose around objectives, or like what's going on there?
Definitely not a conscious decision to say, let's do objectives worse. So yeah, I think it's definitely something that we've been looking at a lot and trying to improve on. And the disappointing thing is that it wasn't as sharp as we wanted it to be in either the FlyQuest series or the TSM series. I feel a little bit better about the way we played against TSM than we do against FlyQuest, but we're still all really unsatisfied about the way we're playing around that stuff. I think there were moments in the regular season where we were really crisp there. But it's not one of those games where as soon as you do something well, you're good at it forever. Yeah. So I think we definitely had a little bit of a relapse towards playoff series, and it's going to be about getting it back to where we had it at some points in the regular season, and then also doing better to try and improve it beyond that point. Like it's all going to be a process. Right now, obviously, it feels real bad. I haven't delved into any of the community criticism. I'm not sure if I plan on it either. Yeah. But really, we're just going to take a quick reset before we go to Worlds.
So, I mean, speaking of kind of focusing on the fundamentals and keeping those up. That was seemingly also the fault of Cloud9 as well too. Their downfall, I guess you could say. And there was a little bit of harping towards maybe Cloud9 because they weren't able to get quality scrims, and that there were a lot of top teams as rumors that they weren't practicing against, any of the other top teams in the sense of like TSM or maybe FlyQuest or whatnot. Did you guys have any of these problems heading into the latter parts of the regular split or even playoffs?
I would say it's always really hard to know how much teams are able to improve or not from scrims. For us, I think we had generally been a team that plays a lot sharper on stage than in scrims. I don't think that's unique to us, but I didn't notice any massive issues because teams wouldn't scrim us or because they were scrimming strangely against us. No.
So I gotta ask, Game 5, Bjergsen pulls out the Zillion. You guys didn't ban the Zillion. You know he's a monster on it. Like, why not the Zillion ban, I guess?
There was other stuff that we needed to prioritize throughout the series. You saw a really strong Senna play out a Doublelift for 4 games, so we wanted to mix it up. You saw a really strong Italy play from Spica in Game 1, and I have to watch the game again to see if we change it up in the future. But picks and bans is always a evolving process.
I saw you guys kind of playing around with Doublelift, so to speak, and the draft where, you guys swapped over to blue side to then force TSM to ban Caitlyn. And it was kind of a pick and pull because once you went back to red side, you were trying to like kind of call their bluff to say, are you going to ban Caitlyn? Like, can you still play Caitlyn? Let's see, Doublelift. And he pulls it out. And then, you guys allow Doublelift to get Senna as well multiple times throughout the series. So you think there was a little bit of disrespect towards Doublelift during the draft?
I'd have to say that it's still too fresh to kind of dissect what we were doing in draft.
Mm-hmm.
All of our plans were based on the matchups that we either wanted or the matchups that you would think we would get. And there's a lot of trade-offs in drafts, whether or not you're trying to give someone a power pick in exchange for something else, or whether or not you're trying to draft for comfort or draft for team comp. So there's just a lot of factors, and I don't think I can give you a good detailed answer to that.
So I think you can give me a little inkling on Jungle Shen. What are your thoughts about it? The series, just the pick overall?
I mean, I think Spica played great on it.
Mm-hmm.
So I have to credit TSM for having the flexibility to do that. We knew that Jungle Shen was a possibility going in, and unfortunately, we weren't able to come out on top.
So not all is doom and gloom. Core JJ, I think, played relatively well considering and encompassing the entire series, along with Jensen. So, you guys have that to look forward to going into Worlds. But what's the game plan, I guess, for practice as you head into Worlds?
It's going to be a Worlds kind of like no other. So we leave on Wednesday to go to China, and then everyone's in quarantine for 14 days. Mm-hmm. So in a sense, all of the remote scrimming that we have done early on in this split before our facility opened up is going to come in handy because we're going to have to do that again. And then basically as soon as quarantine ends, we're going to play in. So we're just going to try and improve as much as possible in that amount of a lot of time and kind of take it as a second chance. It's I think in previous interviews, I kind of called it split 3. That's still the mindset we're going to try and go in, right? Summer split is over. We're going to Worlds one way or the other, whether we're third, second, or first. Play-ins means we get a few more games on stage against a wider variety of teams, and hopefully we can use that time to improve more as a team.
Okay. So finally, do you have anything to say for the Team Liquid fans before, you guys kind of shut off and go into scrims and whatnot for Worlds?
Yeah, I'd say thanks for supporting us this year for Team Liquid fans. I'm sorry we couldn't pull it out in the end. We had a great regular season. I think we had a lot of highs. I'm really happy Core JJ was able to get MVP. Tactical was able to get Rookie of the Year. Really disappointed we couldn't pull it out against FlyQuest or TSM. I will, kindly ask that people are more excited about the games than they are negative. We're looking at everything we can do to improve internally. By no means do we think that losing is okay, but dunking on our players for losing 2 close 5-game series, I'd say if you're a Team Liquid fan, don't do that. So give us support, give us energy. We're going to give it everything we have for Worlds.
All right, I am excited for Worlds. I hope you guys represent NA well. I'm looking forward to it. This has been Azento from Esports Heaven and Jatt from Team Liquid. Thank you very much.
Thanks.